sometimes scream, so if you guys are like, if your ears are getting blown out, just do one of these and I'll quiet down a little bit. So I really love how when they asked us to speak, they didn't really have anything that they really wanted us to talk about, but almost everybody has talked about relationships. And so for me, I'm going to be talking about how we can do those type of relationships on a larger scale using Facebook advertising. And in pure coincidence, only Ja Rule and I don't have slides today. So, so for me, the basics of marketing has always been that know, like, trust. Everybody beats it into our brains from when we are little tadpoles going on into the marketing world. And for some reason, a couple years ago, when Facebook came out with advertising, they decided that we're just not going to care about that anymore. We're just going to sell directly to you rather than warming you up, creating a relationship with you, or anything like that. And it's not really our fault as marketers or as advertisers. It's really Facebook's fault for doing that. Because when it first came out, it was so easy to get positive return on investment from even just a little bit of ad spend. So I want to preface, anytime I really talk about Facebook ads, I preface this because if you don't have your branding figured out, and I consider your branding, your messaging, who you want to talk to, niche, client avatar, any of that stuff, stay away from advertising for right now. Like, get those things dialed in, do the legwork of figuring that out, get some conversations going so that you know exactly what those people need. That way you can use these techniques to scale them up. I don't want to assume that everybody's ran Facebook ads. Who here has ran at least one Facebook ad? Awesome. How did that go? Good? Okay. If you've did it for a while, you've kind of know that you can retarget people, get people into audiences, stuff like that. What a lot of people don't know is that exact fact. So Facebook asks you to promote all the time. Promote, 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 promote. Well, businesses are hitting the promote button. Nothing's happening. They don't have any follow-up. They don't have people are on their website. Nothing's happening. So an experienced Facebook advertiser or marketer knows that you can retarget website views, purchases, add to carts in the e-commerce space, or specific pages on your website. What a lot of people don't understand is that you can also create audiences based on engagement, video views, whether people have clicked on an ad or not, whether like the top 25% of time spent on your website. And those are all really, really imperative to know that you can do that. And that's kind of my whole point with this. I'm going to go through a lot of kind of strategy stuff, a lot of umbrella items, but you don't know that these things can happen unless you've been told that they can happen. So you don't know what you don't know. So what I'm going to kind of go over is something that I like to call the authority-based branding system. And the reason why I like this system is because you are able to pre-frame, and Michael talked about it earlier when he was talking about the website stuff, you're able to pre-frame your audience exactly how you want them to perceive your brand and exactly the way you want them to kind of learn about you. So sometimes with organic marketing, somebody will come in almost like halfway through their marketing journey with you. And you're talking about maybe something that's a little bit over their head if you're a personal brand or something like that. And they don't know whether they should be there or not. With this way, we're going to be walking people through a series of videos that they won't be able to see that last video unless they've watched everything in between that. So it's super, super powerful. It also gives you a lot of insights as to like how your brand works as you're selling them. So instead of just selling them all the time over and over and over again, you're going to get some organic content in that mix as well, which is really helpful because you never want to be the brand that's just always selling to people. So I break it down into 4 different stacks. So I did web design for a while, worked with a bunch of developers, so we called pieces of work stacks there. Stack number 1 is the relationship stack. Stack number 2 is the omnipresent stack. Stack number 3 is what I like to call the get money stack. And then stack number 4 is the post-purchase stack. And the benefits of starting the relationship this way is, like I was saying before, you get to control the narrative as to how people start to know your brand. And especially if maybe you had some bad press or something like that, you can reverse that and say, this is who we are, this is what our brand is about, this is what we like to do. Here's maybe some videos on some things to smash those limiting beliefs that you have about our brand. In order to do this, not a lot of people go through it, but it's something called the Facebook Business Manager. Who's been in the Facebook Business Manager before? Okay, so there's less hands than people who've ran Facebook ads, which is not uncommon. So Business Manager is one of the craziest tools you could possibly have in marketing right now. It houses all of your data. You can see down to the half a penny what you're spending on different engagement types. So if you haven't used Business Manager yet, it's business.facebook.com, and you go in, you sign in as your original profile, you'll set up a business, and you'll be able to put in ad accounts and all that stuff. Up at the top left of that, there's a 3 hamburger menu, you know those 3 little lines? If you click that and go into Create Audiences, there'll be an Audience tab up there, and that's where we're gonna do a lot of this work, is in the video views in that Audience tab. So this is where better relationships start. And this is where they can start at scale rather than doing one-on-one. We've had a lot of people talk about DMs and making sure that you're not creepy in the DMs and like going through that whole process as an individual. But how do you do that as a brand? How do you do that as an e-commerce company where you're not going to make any money if you just do that? And that's by building relationships this way. So instead of selling people cold, we're going to learn a process to bring people through, to start in the relationship stack, a video series that goes through those things, and then at the end, you'll be able to sell them rather than just saying, hey, do you want to buy something? And kind of disrespecting that whole sales process. I do want to mention that direct sales does work. There's a lot of good direct sales marketers, copywriters, everything out there. But for me, this has been more reliable, especially when you go to a client and ask them what their target audience is, and they say 18 to 60 males and females who like running. Like, that doesn't really help me at all. And this doesn't just work via the psychology, it also works with the Facebook algorithm. So the algorithm wants 2 things. It wants people to stay on Facebook for as long as possible, and it wants them to have a good experience when they're on Facebook. So how this relates to that is that as they are seeing content from you, and I'll go into each individual stack in a second. As they're seeing content from you, they get basically like opt in to seeing the next piece of content or into your get money stack or omnipresent stack. So as they're stepping through that, they're basically giving you permission to give them more content rather than saying, here, you're just going to get it, and like we don't really care if you like it or not. So that helps, 1, keep people on the platform, and 2, it helps them also have a more pleasurable experience online, on the platform. And from what I do mostly Facebook advertising, but from what I'm understanding is the video view audiences that are integral to this part of the process are actually being introduced in LinkedIn, Snapchat, and some of the other, and YouTube. So this kind of same strategy or like idea can be used in those platforms as well. So the first stack, the relationship stack, that is where we're going to go through and pre-frame all of everybody that like sees your audience. So this is going to be where you take a video, probably a brand video, that you've specifically curated to have 3 core values from your business in it. So for like a personal brand, maybe it's authority. For like a mattress company or a security company, maybe it's like privacy and security, something like that. So you have those, it's a specific type of video. It's not just any video that you post on there. This is your introduction to them and to the world of what you want your business to be perceived as. So this is not one of those things where you can shoot it in an afternoon and be okay. But that's the video number 1 in the relationship stack. In order to get to the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th videos within that stack, they have to opt in by watching a certain percentage of the video. So right now on Instagram and Facebook, as you're scrolling through, you get about 1.8 seconds, I think was the last stats that I heard, 1.8 seconds to like grab their attention. So you can make video view audiences for several different types of, or like video view percentages. You can do 3 seconds, 10 seconds, they just added 15 seconds, 25% of a video, 50% of a video, 75%, and 95%. So as you can see, if you have a brand story video of your whole entire brand and somebody watches 95% of it, they're probably pretty into your brand. They know exactly kind of, if you've done the video right, they know exactly what you kind of stand for and how, and now they want to work with you, right? If they've watched 95%. But what people don't understand is that since there is such little attention, and that 1.8 seconds is the average right now, that 10-second video view time is actually 5.5 more attention, 5.5 times more attention than any other post would get on there. Now, right now, you can get in front of, with video, about 1,000 people in the US for, depending on the targeting and if you have, what interests you have in there, you can get it for about $3 to $6. And if you can get those people into that 10-second view, you can get some people viewing your post for 10 seconds for a penny, which means you are getting essentially a lead into your funnel for a penny. Not for $3, not for $5, getting in somebody's email address or anything like that. And the key here is they are opting in via behavior, not giving you a false email address at like gobrowns@google.com or whatever. They're actually watching a video and you can actually continue to follow up with them. So, video 2. They will only see video 2 if they've watched part of video 1. And this is kind of where the magic happens, where they get to step through the story of your brand. So video 2, talk about more authority. Just continue to put in your core values or smash limiting beliefs based on maybe your price is too high. Well, here's what the value you get from working with us. This can work with B2B, B2C. It doesn't really matter. It's pre-framing people before you even go to sell them. And the key throughout all this is like none of these videos have call to actions. If they want to know about your brand or know about your website or whatever, they'll go there. But none of these have call to actions. And then you just continue based on the price point of what you're selling or what you want to, like how many times you feel like you need to reinforce your brand with them. That's how many videos you go through. And they won't even be able to be sold to you or be sold to until they've learned all about your company. So how powerful would that be if you can get somebody for, let's say, less than $1 to know all about your company over a couple days, a couple weeks, depending on how long it takes them to get through that video series? That'd be super, super powerful. Well, when you're paying in a conversion campaign, and for those that don't know what a conversion campaign is those are normally created just to go out and sell something. So the conversion campaign to get in front of 1,000 people is between $12 and $20. So you can get in front of 3 to 4 times as many people with a video campaign and all your other little video campaigns before you would even spend the $20 it took to just directly go out to 1,000 people. And you'll be in front of 4,000, 5,000 people. This is where you kind of start to make some money. They know who you are, they know what you do, you've smashed some limiting beliefs, and you've also warmed them up going from like to trust. You don't have to worry about doing any of that or what your conversion types are or if you made the right decision on putting marathon running in there rather than just running, because people are going to opt in at a lesser cost into your funnel on Facebook rather than, oh, did I get this targeting right? Oh, this isn't converting. Why isn't this converting? Well, you don't have to worry about that. Let Facebook do its thing with all of its infinite knowledge and let it play into your funnel for you rather than having to do some kind of guesswork. So you can be a little bit more lenient in your audience creation, which is what a lot of people get hung up on in the first place. Once they've gone through your relationship stack, they are able to get into your Get Money stack and your Omnipresent stack. I'm not going to talk too much about those because I only have 13 more minutes, and I could be up here for 4 hours talking about how to retarget people, what day range should you retarget somebody for a specific product. But the Get Money stack is where you do your general retargeting for your website, add to carts, purchases, all that stuff. Omnipresence is where you take some of your organic content that's really hitting, doing well, and you put it into an engagement campaign to just get more eyes on it. All 3 of these campaigns, well, all 4 of these campaigns that I'm talking about are all running at the same time. So you're building new relationships, having warm people go through your sales process, and they're not being sold to all the time. They're actually getting little pieces of content or little pieces of information to indoctrinate them more into your brand, right? The last piece is the post-purchase. And a lot of, especially when I've come into some e-commerce brands, they don't really give a shit about their customers after they buy something, which is really, really strange to me because those people are where you're going to make your recurring income from and getting referrals and testimonials and all that stuff. As a coach, for me, that really, really builds my business more than anything else. So if you don't do this now and you're doing all this other stuff and you're doing good with like your Get Money stack and everything, add a post-purchase stack in there. And all that has to do is just be a simple thank you. They get an email from you already after they purchase something. Why not get another ad? Why not spend the extra $5 a week, $7 a week to actually get in front of people and say thank you? Ask for reviews, ask for really testimonials, reviews, anything. We did this with a chiropractor that was local here. I ran her through this full stack, and for $400 in ad spend, we brought in about $4,000 worth of business in her first month. And the one thing that everyone always kept saying when they walked into her office was that they never felt like they were being sold anything. They felt that they were being told a story as to why they needed to work with that person. And then afterwards, we used an ad. After we did some automation with her CRM that pulled people out. But after that, we served those people another ad that asked her to give a review. So that first month, she got 15 or 20 reviews just from that ad. Just from us reaching back out, super simple. Hey, hope your first visit was pleasant. How about you give us a review? Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us what we did right. Was there anything that you would like more information on? Anything like that. And they know exactly where to find you. So kind of an overview of all that is that as you're building relationships at scale on Facebook, you have to warm an audience up. There is a lot of marketers out there now that are, in my opinion, kind of disrespecting that sales process by not warming an audience up and acting like those are humans on the other side of the screen from you. A bunch of people talked about it today, and nobody wants to be sold to. Nobody wants to just have only ads in their feeds. We are so inundated with people not caring and just like trying. I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to throw this ad out there. Just buy this. Will you just buy this? No. Like, date me a little bit first, like before you try to marry me, right? Like, don't just go out and hope that I'm going to buy something from you. And this has been so reliable for not only my own lead generation attempts, but for all my clients. I run all my clients through something similar as this, depending on what kind of budget they have. Obviously, if you're running 3 different stacks with all these different ad sets and you're trying to test some things, it's going to be a little bit pricey. But the end, what we found is that the cost per lead goes down like 40 to 60% on that last, once you get them into that get money stack, that all the other work and kind of like different rounds going through that relationship stack that are kind of not return on investment driven end up being okay, because you're getting leads for 40 to 60% less than what you would. So again, I'm just going to kind of go through that whole stack again. The relationship stack, you have 2 to 7+ videos talking about your brand story, really framing how you want your brand to be perceived. Going through those. Nobody is going to see or get into your omnipresence or get money stack unless they've seen all those videos. Because again, we want to warm that audience up first. The get money stack and omnipresence stack, those are both running at the same time so that you're not selling to your potential clients and disrespecting them a little bit more during that process. You want them to just continue to get to know you. And then actually follow up and actually give a shit about your customers after you acquire them. In pure Adam fashion, I talked very fast. So I have probably about 5 minutes to answer any questions, if anybody has any questions. If you've ran Facebook ads, if you're kind of iffy about what I was talking about or how it could potentially work with your business, we can take those now. Nobody? Go for it. Okay. Mm-hmm.